Okay, so part 2, we are going to compare what we know the speed of sound is at 25 degrees. So our temperature will be 25 degrees Celsius. And so we know what the speed of sound should be at 25 degrees Celsius. We used it in the last part, and you can find it from your notes as well. So we're going to obtain a set of PVC pipes of different lengths. We are going to hit them and set up a fundamental first harmonic standing wave. It's going to be closed on one end because we're going to hit it and cover it with our palms. Okay. So I have to again tell you what the data is. It'll be the same kind of graph that we had in the last lab where it shows us the cycles and the time that it takes for that, so we would know the period or the frequency if we took the inverse, but we're going to focus in on the period. So the first thing that you need to do for this part 2 is just label it as part 2, set up a data table. All right, and your data table I think is going to have 4 columns. The first column, what you're going to want to do for the first column is put in the lengths of the PVC pipes. And so the lengths of the PVC piping that we're going to do are 0.15 meters, 0.20 meters, 0.25 meters, 0.30 meters, and 0.35 meters. Okay? So let's put zeros in front of all of these. All right, so those are going to be our first column, okay? And we'll have the lengths of those. So label your column lengths. If you say lengths in meters, then you just have to put those numbers. The second column that we're going to do, that's our first column. Our second column that we're going to do is the effective length. And if you recall from the last lab, what you're going to do to get that is to take your length there, like 0.15. To that, and it's only open on one end, we're going to multiply 0.33 by the diameter. And the diameter of all these pipes is going to be 0.024 meters. So to each of these, you're going to add 0.33 times 0.024 meters. Because if you recall, the antinode takes place a little bit outside of the pipe. So add that effective length. To get the effective length, add that to each length, and that will be your second column. To your third column, for each of those, calculate the wavelength. Now, for a fundamental, for a pipe that's open on one end, you should know what that equals in comparison to the length. Use the effective length. Okay, use column 2. Find out for a fundamental pipe open on one end, what does the wavelength equal? We did that in the last part. And that will be your third column for each of these. Your fourth column will be the actual data. And the fourth column for the actual data would be nice if you were able to read it. It'll be the period. So it'll be like that first graph that we looked at. And you choose 5 of them, get the time, divide. We will not flip it to get the frequency. We'll just keep it with the period. And so for 0.15, we get a period of 0.00181 seconds. For the next one, we get 0.00246 seconds. For 0.25, we get 0.00299 seconds. For 0.3, we get 0.00354 seconds. And for 0.35, we get 0.00417. So that is your data. All right. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do after you get that data table set up is to make a graph. And you're going to want to make a graph, okay, let's see here, of, there we go, wavelength versus period. So you're going to put the wavelength on the Y, okay, and you're going to put the period on the X. You're going to do a linear regression. And you're going to have an equation where the slope is the speed of sound at that temperature. And so go ahead and do the linear regression, get the speed of sound, and right beneath the data table, write that equation, write you know, what the speed of sound is, what you found it to be experimentally, and then compare that to the speed of sound at 25 degrees Celsius. So actually there's the formula right there. And just compare that and go ahead and do a percent error. If you recall what percent error is, it's the actual minus the theoretical. Take the absolute value there shouldn't be any negatives, divided by theoretical times 100. All right, just as a comparison. And that's it for part 2. And if you want to do some of the extensions, I didn't even look at some of the extensions. You could potentially do that for some extra credit if you wanted to do it. I would think it'd have to be a video, but you could do something like that if you wanted to. I don't know how feasible any of those are. No, those are just some problems. So if you wanted to do those and talking about these, you could do those for extra credit. So any of the extensions, if you want to talk about them in detail, that could be some extra credit. Oh, what happened?
Uh-oh.
Oh, I don't know what happened here. Oh, there it is.